Hi everyone, my name is Josteve Adekanbi. I'm speaking on deep dive into Flutter animations, crafting dynamic and engaging UIs. But basically, it's really interactive animations in Flutter. My talk has two divisions: Flutter implicit animations and then Flutter animates. Using Flutter animates to animate, it's a Flutter package that was created by G-Skinner. So starting with implicit animation, Flutter has provided some widgets that we can use out of the box, but in this session we'll focus on animated scale, animated position, animated opacity, and animated default text style. So I'll be showing examples about how the ones we are focusing on work. Okay. So this is for So this is for animated scale. I press the button, it becomes big, and then I press the button back, it goes back. How does that work? We have this animated scale widgets, and then on press the button, set state, scaled up, is invert it or just toggle it. And so from the widget, so the scale is 2 when we are scaled up, and then is 1 when we are scaled down, and then we just set the duration of how the animation should run. The other example there is animated positioned. So I'll just go and then move this. So animated positions allows us to move like widgets in a stack. For instance, I have this blue container. I press the button, it goes down, and then I press it, it goes up. And how does that work? Very similar to how animated scale works. On press the button, I say either I've moved or I've not. If I've moved, set it up to 60, if not 0, and again setting the duration, how fast we want the animation to run. The other example is animated opacity. Just going to remove this again. So very similar code, just the name of the widget changing. Animated opacity is how you fade things in and out. Similar thing, hide opacity is 0, else opacity is 1, duration again. Animated default text style allows us animate like properties from the text style. This is a good example. So when I press this, it becomes bigger, the color changes to green, and then I can toggle it back, and you can actually see the color animating. It's not like it just changed then. So let's see all of this in like a practical example. So this is an animation I saw on Dribble by Antin, pure scroll animation. But I focused on the animation in this Dribble, and this is what's really happening. So let's get into it. What we want to do is identify the static objects or the static elements, and then the ones that move around, and these are the ones that move around. Once we identify the animating widgets, we need to specify what actions. So we can see for the light bulb, it fades out and scales out, and then the subtitle fades out and scales out, and the power ledger text goes up, the Lemo button fades out and scales out, and then there is a white container that comes from the top. Sorry. So I'll be running through like implementing this quickly. So I've prepared like an initial code for it, and so we can actually just do it together. So we can see this is the light bulb, and then I said it's fades, so that's animated opacity. Animated opacity, and when does it happen? So when we tap, we want to fade away. If not, we want it to be 1. Then we need to set the duration. Let's just say 500 milliseconds. And then it also scales away. So we want to wrap this in an animated scale. Copy this and scale instead. So if I press the button now, you see it does the same way it is from this animation. And so we can go to the next one. The subtitle fades out and scales out. So it's basically the same code it's the same code. Just do this. And let's use that here. And so we'll see the other one going away. Then for the next thing is the power ledger goes up. So there would change this animated this position to animated position because we now want it to move. What we want to change is stop. So when we want to go up a bit and else use this, then want to set the duration. Also, okay, this is wrong. It's power ledger. Okay. To be positioned back. I guess. Okay. No. Something's going on wrong with Josteve. Power ledger. Isn't this instead? Wait. Okay. So the default. What's the default was there? 500. Alright. So that button shouldn't be animated. This. Okay. So the learn more button also fades away. So let's work on that. This is the button. We'll wrap this in. Okay. Opacity. Very slow. And so we have this happening. I have to restart it to get the button back. Now, sorry. So the last thing happening here is there's a white container coming up, and so this is the container that I'm waiting. And so again, I will set the duration. Duration is milliseconds 500. And let's just say when you've tapped 120. And so if I press the button now, we get this. So it's quite similar to what the Anton guide did. So this is just a simple example. We can get into more complex ones. One other one I saw was this, the XOR system by Anton, again on Dribble. So this looks like a lot of things going on here. There is this. But what we want to focus on is what are the things happening and what are the things moving. So when the animation restarts, we'll see that the first thing that happens is it taps Earth, something happens, it scrolls down, something happens, and then it taps something else, something happens again. And it might be scary because that's a lot, but we can get into it. So again, when I tap Earth, the astronaut scales in. So this is my implementation of that. Okay, so I tap Earth and then I get that. But if you want to really identify things that are happening, when I tap Earth, the astronaut, I can keep playing this. When I tap Earth, the astronaut scales in and then the arrows fade out, the wheels fade out, the Earth comes down, the peel under the Earth goes away, the Earth exchanges to white and then it moves up a bit. It's so many things happening there. But the good thing is all of this is implementable because you can see the astronaut scales in. We are definitely going to use a scale for that. The arrow fades out. We're using animated opacity. The wheel fades out. Animated opacity for that too. So I think I'm quite slow in writing the code. So I'm just going to show it. Okay, yeah. Okay. Good. Let's go. Okay, so we'll focus on all of this. When I tap F, the astronaut scales in. So this is the astronaut scaling, animated scale. So when we are inside the astronaut, that means when I tap it, I set the inside astronaut to true. I want you to scale into 10. So if I press the Earth now, that's what's going to happen because of this. And then the next thing is the arrow fades out. So I think arrows. So the arrow fades out. And so let me just go back a bit. So these are the arrows I'm talking about. Again, fading out, animated opacity. So we're inside the astronauts now, so we just want to set the opacity to 0. We're using a duration of 400 and then a curve. I'm not going to get into curve in this talk. So the next thing is the wheel fades out, and this is the wheel. And then I press it again, and then it fades out, and this is also the code, animated opacity again. And so moving on, the Earth scales in, as in it becomes bigger a bit, and then moves down and snaps. So let's get to Earth, I guess. I think. All right, this is it. No, that one. Okay. So this is it for Earth. What I am doing here again is animated scale, because if you read the action, the Earth scales in. So I'm using animated scale to 3.1, else go back to the default, set the duration, and then set a curve. And there is like a gradient under the Earth, and then I have to animate that separately because it wasn't fitting together. Well, it's similar thing, animated scale inside astronauts, a value, and then become bigger. And then the other thing that happens is it moves down a bit, because I said it scales and then it moves down. So if you check here, animated positioned, when we're inside the astronaut, we want to move down to 640, else stay at this default value. And we'll get here, but I want you to focus on this for now. Again, we're inside the astronauts, we want to come here to 720, and then that's basically what's happening for the Earth at the bottom. Then the next thing is the peel under the Earth fades out. I think that's pretty straightforward. Peel. So it's just an animated opacity 0 or 1. Then the edge text changes to white, and then it moves up, because from here it is black, and then when you press it, becomes white. So for that, because we learned about animated default text style, we can change the color when we press it. I think it is here. Again, animated default text style, when we are inside the astronauts, we want the color to be white. And so we press that, and this happens. So then the other information I read more comes up or moves up and catches up with the text. The other information is this. The default value is 0, because I don't want to show it at all for the bottom. And then when I'm inside the astronauts, I want it to come up a bit, so I'm pushing it from the bottom to the top a bit, and that's what's happening. I added a little fade and some other things to it to make it like that. And then the last thing is the indicators fading. So these are the indicators. So if I tap this, you see it fades out, and then once I type in, it fades in. The good thing about using implicit animation is your animations are easily reversible. So I didn't have to write the code for this to happen. It's because I had written the code for it to go forward, so it's just going to do the reverse for this to happen, for the other one to happen. And so we can go to the next. What happens here is we scroll down, the moon comes down, and then the Earth goes away in theory, but this is everything that is happening again. So the Earth moves down. I think that's page view. And so I I have a flag called drag moon down to see what I implemented to know when you've dragged down. It's something with gesture detector, just know when you drag down or up. So get back to this. So when you drag the moon down, again, it's very similar stuff to what we've been doing. We want to change the position again with animated position for the Earth, and so we take it down a bit, and then the Earth text fades out and moves down. Let me try to repeat that. So if I do this and we focus on this Earth text, it fades out and moves down alongside the other information that was there, so we can find it. And yeah, so when we've dragged moon down, we want to set the opacity to 0, else we want to set the opacity to 1. Basically ternary and then a boolean and then changing the values again. And so I think it's similar to what's happening for the other information here. Animated opacity and then animated position to move it. But then the interesting part that happens here is the indicator switches. So if you look at when I do this, you can see the indicator is switching as I change it. I can go to the indicators. Okay. So I have two states, when the Earth is down and then when the Earth is up, and that would invert the state for the moon. So I've created two animated container with a loop here, and it's basically I'm using an animated container because I want to change the color and I want the color to be animated too. And so when you change properties in an animated container, it animates it. So that is how that works. And then the next thing again is the moon. The moon comes down, I think. Okay, so the moon comes down when we drag down, as you can see. But if you look at the progression of the animation, everything does not happen at the same time. There's some delay, because if you look at the Earth going down, the moon did not move at the same time the Earth did. So I added a delayed drag. I misspelled this, but it's a delayed drag. I think there's just a 1 second delay, 100 milliseconds delay before this is turned to true. So the Earth goes out enough for the moon to come down. Well, again, it's similar ternary. When we drag down, this is the value I want. And again, the moon text changes to white. That's here. So the animated default text style, when we drag down, I want you to change it to white. If not, keep it at the actual value. And then the other information comes up. Start. Okay, this is it. So again, animated position. I'm pushing it from the bottom. So I want it to do 40, and then I'm using -100 because I don't want to see it initially. And so you can see that when you want to move things around, you use animated position. You want to make it bigger or smaller, animated scale. You want to hide it, animated opacity. So there is just one last thing that is happening. Yeah, and that's when you tap read more. There's something else that happens again. And so we can watch the animation again and then see what's actually happening. We can see that the other information read more and then the indicators fade out. The moon scales out, becomes smaller and then moves to the top. The moon text becomes bigger as it moves back up. And then there is a back button that comes from the left on the top, and then there is a white container that comes from the bottom, similar to what we did in the first one. So if we go back and take everything one by one, the other information and read more and the indicators fade out. I think everybody can say what would use for that animated opacity. So if I check. Okay, so when I tap read more, the opacity is 0, if not, the opacity is 1. For the moon, if you look at it, it becomes smaller and then it is smaller and then it is going up at the same time. So let me try to find it. So this is for it to go up. When I tap read more, I want it to go up a bit, and when I tap read more, I want the scale to be 0.5. So I'm reducing it a bit. And remember I said that there is a gradient. Can remove it so you can see what I'm saying. So without the gradient, it's just like it's too clear, so I wanted to make it a bit dark. So there's also a gradient that I have to animate. When I tap read more, I want it to go to the top again. And so that's fine. Everything's going to work fine. But then there's also a back that comes from the left. It is moving, so animated positioned. When I tap read more, I want you to come from the left, come to 20, and then if not, stay at -50. And then the white container is just this part that you can also interact with. I think this is it. There is nothing crazy happening here. It's just when you tap read more, come up to 70, and if not, just stay down at 1000. And so again, what I said, because we're using implicit animations, it is easy to do all of this and to go back. So if I press back, it just does the opposite of what I've said. And read more, back. If I scroll and I tap F, and that's the basic implementation of all of this. So that concludes my talk around using implicit animations. The other talk is using Flutter Animate. It's a package I found out this year. It's on pub.dev if you want to try it out. It makes animation a lot easier. You can say a little easier than the implicit animation we saw, because the code is cleaner. Because in implicit animation, you would see that it might become hard over time to test or debug your animations, because you are nesting implicit animations on top of each other. But this gives us a different syntax. So they have move, shake, rotate, and in this talk, there are other things. We'll focus on these three. So, okay. So this is a simple animation that I did with Flutter Animate. I was out of ideas. Sorry, I'm not a designer. So, but we can look at it. We can look at it and see what is happening again. We want to always find what is getting animated and the behavior. So if I play it again, we see that the rocket is sort of rotating to the left. It is moving from the left to the right. It is becoming bigger, scaling in. It is moving from the bottom to the top, and it is shaking. So let me just get the code. Okay, sorry. So I sort of cheated. The initial position of the rocket is on the left, just beside the rocket text. So you can see I used the row and I have a text with it. So how does the Flutter Animate package work? You call .animate on You call .animate on any widget like this. Let's put the last column on any widget like this, and it can be animated basically. So we'll focus on everything that is happening. It rotates to the left, and this is the rotation. So you can see it rotating to the left. What's the next thing that happens? Moves from the left to the right. And then I'll come here, see move X, because it's on the horizontal axis, X-axis, where are we starting, where are we stopping, how long do you want the move to take. The next thing that is happening is it is becoming bigger, scaling in. And so scale XY, because it's becoming bigger on both X and Y. And then I do this. So Flutter Animate by default has default values for begin, so you don't always have to specify it. And here I'm just using 1.6, and then we can see it moving from here to here on its own without doing anything. And it moves from the bottom to the top. That's the y-axis. And so I'm just going to comment this, and we can see it moving smoothly to that position. But then the last thing is that it shakes. And so it also has this shake method that you can just keep nesting on each other. and then we have the same thing. But I was going to show how to do all of this, but I wanted to show something else. Now the animation is just going on, so like there is nothing triggering it, and it's fine, I guess, but there is something cooler that we could do. So how about making this controlled by scrolling? So as we scroll, the rocket moves up. And so to implement that, we need a scroll controller. We have a very long text here. All we need to just do is say adapter is a scroll adapter, and basically just this. And then as I scroll, it is moving. And then when I get to the bottom, it gets to the bottom. Again, I'm not a designer. This is just an example to what I want to show next. And that wraps up this part. But I also saw this by Anton, and this guy is very good. He designed this Nike website, I guess. And I couldn't get some of the assets, but this is what sorry. This is what I came up with. So all of this is controlled by scrolling. As you scroll, the moving items move, I guess. So let me get that up. Okay, so sorry. Yeah, I'm running on macOS because the web app. Get to the code. So again, we're focusing on what is happening. It is always what is happening, identifying things that wants to move and how they move. We have two shoes here. Let me get it. We have two shoes here. The right shoe seems like it is going to the right, and it is turning a bit or rotating a bit. And then the left shoe is moving to the left, and then the logo is moving up. I think that stuff about back button was a mistake. The image moves slowly to the top, so it's something like a parallax effect. And this is also a mistake. I'm sorry. These texts move horizontally, so I wasn't going to write how all of them are moving individually because that would be a lot. But let's get to implementing it, or just seeing what's actually happening. So because it is being controlled by how I scroll, we have to always set the scroll adapter. Let me get this. Sorry. So focusing on the shoes first. This is the right leg. This guy, yeah. It is moving up, and then it's moving to the right. I think it's also rotating a bit. So this is the code. Come on. Okay. Please sorry, ignore this. Okay. So this is the code. I'm adding a scroll adapter, moving, rotating, and then moving next. And so the implementation, I don't think it was even like set. Let me put this here. So in the implementation, if I scroll now, you can see it's just the shoe that is moving. And I'll put this in the middle. So the next thing happening is for the left shoe, and then I can comment this. Move this. It is rotating, moving up, and then moving to the left again. And so I'm moving, I'm rotating, and then I'm moving it on the x-axis. For the Nike logo, it is basically just moving up, and we have that by just attaching it to the scroll controller and then using the scroll controller as an adapter. But there are other things happening. These are the default ways these things look without the animation. So let's animate it. So okay. So these two are mistakes, I guess. the image on the left moves slowly. This is the image on the left, which is this. I just named it Bureau Nike 1. As you scroll, I want to move up a bit, but not at the same speed as I'm scrolling, and that is why that is happening. For every other thing on the right, I had to watch the way the animation was moving, and like this is basically what is happening for them. So Tumbled is moving to the right, the leather is moving to the left, and I'll just on comments for all of them. This is why I didn't add it, because I had to animate each of them individually. Okay, I think I can stop here for now. So okay, scattered now, but just to show you a little bit of the code, Tumbled is moving to the right, so I guess to the left, and that is why it is minus on this end. And for leather, I'm starting at the far left and then I'm moving to the right, and so you can see Tumbled moving to the left, leather moving to the right. For premium, similar, just playing around with the begin and the end values for all of them. And other things happen at the bottom, but again is playing around with the values, the begin and the end, essentially. So what I just changed is this coming closer. Okay. So like I said, the animate or Flutter animate package has so many functions that you can just call directly on animate. For this, I think something is fading in. Okay, so this text fades in, and then something else I want to show. Come in. I'm not really focused on this. Okay, sure. Okay. I'll just get to the end. Come in. I don't know. Okay. You know what? Nah. I don't know what to do. Okay. There's an error somewhere. Okay. Okay, so I'm wrapping up, sorry. So at the bottom again, there is something similar happening to all of this text. They are moving as I scroll again, and it's just playing with .animate, .movex, and then playing with the begin and the end value. The last thing I did was rotating the shoe, because I couldn't get that asset guy used. So it's just rotating the shoe as you scroll. And if I should code, okay, this is it. So when I get to this position, when I'm scrolling, I want you to rotate it a bit, and then I want you to move as I rotate. So you can check the package on PopDev. There's so much you can do with it. I think I just scratched the surface. All right, and considering I showed the SpongeBob being like scared at the beginning, I think you'll be happy to see what we've been able to do with just implicit animations and using Flutter animates. We didn't have to use a a controller, animation controller, or get into transform and all of those. Thank you. And do I have questions? So this QR code is for the project if you want to check it.